We are all asked to give presentations. This video outlines what to do correctly and things to avoid. The people want to learn. If you have a bad presentation, it will not reflect well on you. This video shows how to give a good presentation, to have presence, and the style of your slides. We'll also show you what not to do. We don't want to give you terrible presentations, but I'm sure you've all seen bad presentations previously. Firstly, your audience. Keep them interested. Show that you know your subject. Keep them interested. If you don't know an answer to a question, say, "I don't know," or "I'll find out and let you know later." If you're short of time, be prepared to skip some of the stuff so that you finish on time. Now try to speak with passion of your subject and speak at the level of your audience. Don't talk down to your audience. Now, some computers, some equipment can present problems to your PowerPoint presentation. So test your slides in advance using the room and the equipment. If we're using external sources such as videos, DVDs, then you need to test these before the date. Otherwise, you're going to have an audience sitting there while you fiddle around with technology. Also, if you're going to online links, try these out beforehand. Now look interested in your topic. You should be excited. If you're not excited, you can't expect other people to be. Now, dead man talking means don't hide from the audience. Don't hide behind the desk, the podium. Use your hands. Don't stare at the laptop, the screen, the ceiling. Don't turn your back to the audience. Ever. Now, nerves. It's easy to ask you to relax, but practice beforehand. Speak slowly. This isn't a race. Take a bottle of water. Be natural. Avoid microphone feedback. If you're using a mic, then try it in the room beforehand so you don't get the whistle. And when you're speaking, modulate your voice up and down. Not excessively, but a monotonous tone can send people to sleep. And project your voice. Speak up so that your voice reaches everyone in the audience. Now, don't be too clever by using bells and whistles and modern gadgets like lasers without it being absolutely necessary. So use lasers sparingly. Now don't refer to the laptop or the computer screen. Laser pointers are useful, but be very careful. It is a temptation to point to your laptop screen or the screen behind you, but they can't always see what you're pointing at. Now here is a slide with a small video. By all means include videos, cartoons, and YouTube videos, but only if they work 100% on the day. Practice makes perfect. Now, slide design. Keep it simple. Very simple. Avoid overstimulation. Here are some logos. Now, by all means use them, but do watch copyright for some of these logos. And don't put them on every slide. Just use them sparingly. So the outline of a slideshow is title slide, very simple, an introductory slide, an outline. Keep the number of slides for a 5-minute presentation down to up to 10, no more. Now, outline slides are going to help the audience. They're wanting to know what you're planning in the remaining slides you're going to show them. So take the audience through your slideshow. And the outline of your slideshow is not going to be 25 minutes. It could be 3 to 5 minutes. Now, that is too much text to put on a slide. Bullet points only need to be a few words long, not paragraphs and not text. Font size, you want to aim for 32 point for the kind of sentences you're watching at the moment on the screen. If you go too low, they won't be able to read it. And keep to popular fonts like Arial. Now, if it's too small, people are going to say, I can't read, I can't read, in which case it's a bad slide. So when you're rehearsing your slideshow, walk to the back of the room to see if you can read everything that's on the screen. Now, this is a title slide where you only want 2 or 3 words for the title slide. Here, the wording has gone off the edge of the screen, which is easy to do on PowerPoint. So again, if you rehearse, you'll see that this has happened. And then you can put return halfway along the sentence to bring it back. Bullets can be used, but sparingly. 3 bullet points per slide is really what you want to aim for maximum. Check your spelling. If you're drawing pictures and diagrams, make them large enough to be visible. You don't want tiny print that people can't read from the back. There's an example diagram. They don't need to see the detail, they just need to see the basic structure of the point that you're making. Now, we're not in Pixar Studios. Now, these movements of text can be very annoying, so use sparingly. Similarly, bad drawings. There are ways of drawing professional slides using basics Microsoft software, so take some time to do it properly. Now, this is a blank slide. If that happens in a slideshow, the audience are going to wonder what on earth is going on. So don't put them in suspense. So carry the audience with you. Now, colors. Watch the contrast between the text and the background. At the bottom of this slide, you'll see some white print on a very pale background, which you can hardly see. You would never see it in a room where there might be the sun or light shining. So watch the contrast. Similarly, this yellow. White on yellow does not work. In fact, the light colors are not really advisable for text. So black text is clearest, white background is clearest. So unless you want to reinforce colour, keep to black and white. Here's an equation which people sitting in the back row of your room will not be able to see or interpret. Keep it simple. You could give a handout while they're in the lecture room with these equations on, or they could pick up the handout on their way out or on their way in. Here's another diagram that doesn't really help anybody, because you'd never track one of these paths if you're sitting at the back of the audience. Similarly here, if you have data, it means nothing because people can't read it. Use graphs, but even with graphs, you would never interpret what these graphs are supposed to say. So give attention to the poor person with limited eyesight sitting at the back of the audience. This is better, although one of these graphs could have a different color so that they could be interpreted. If your talk is more than 5 minutes, then summarize at certain stages. Right, so for bad presentations, these are the kind of responses you might get. If it's good, they want more, and they might even give you applause. Thank you for your time. You might put a slide up that says, any questions? So allow 2 or 3 minutes for questions.